On this week's podcast, we're going to take a step away from what we've talked about the last couple of weeks, where I've been kind of getting into talking a lot about cash flow. And as we kind of get to the end of the 2020 year, kind of thought maybe I'll just take a standalone episode and talk about our most important business. Of course, 2020 has been an extremely rough year for everyone. As the owner of an accounting firm, we have the opportunity to be able to work with many clients throughout the country, and I would say almost every single client that we work with has had some material struggle in their business because of the environment, because of what we're dealing with. And of course, most business owners, they have goals that they set, maybe quarterly goals, annual goals that they try to hit. And of course, in 2020, there's been modification of most of those goals. I know in my business, it's been a kind of a complete transition during the course of the year, not just trying to get us through this time, but also trying to help clients through this time. Of course, we've also seen a lot of political and economic impact in our businesses. Many of our freedoms have been taken away, our freedom to operate our business in the way that we normally have, the freedom to be able to just move about and do the things that we normally would pre-COVID. So many of those restrictions have come into place. We've had clients that literally have had their businesses closed down because of governmental rules and regulations. And so we've seen our freedoms taken away, and we've seen our lives impacted. And so many of our businesses have gone through just kind of a stress test this year, but also personally, our lives have gone through a stress test as well. As we kind of reach the end of this year and looking back in myself and as far as to all the events that have happened this year, I've seen a great impact even in my own personal life, and you probably have as well, as we've kind of experienced this stress test. I think it's important maybe during this holiday time, as we're spending more time with family, to take a step back and think about our most important business. Many times when we think about business, we think of our businesses and what's going on in our businesses and how are we going to be able to push our businesses forward during a time of difficulty and be there for our employees and for our clients and those in our network that we have an opportunity to work with and serve. On a personal level, throughout this year, we've seen divorce rates go up. We've seen suicides go up. We've seen illness, even non-COVID illness, increase. Just the impact of the stress of everything that's going on our individual lives. And I think maybe at times we should really think about what are the things that we've learned inside of our business and take the elements of what we've learned and really apply those to our personal life as well. As a business owner, much like you, we probably spend a lot of time trying to develop our people. We spend a lot of time investing in our people. And we spend a lot of time just being present. And I think we can really take a lot of those elements and apply them into our personal life. I know in 2020, I have not been the person that I'm overly proud of at times. I've done some things just because of the stress of everything that's going on, and maybe you have as well, and maybe you've said some things, done some things, and you kind of take a step back and realize, you know what, I really need to kind of shift my focus a little bit on how I arrive, how I'm present, what I'm doing in my personal life. And so while during this holiday time, I think maybe I kind of identified maybe 4 areas as I've looked at my own life that I know I need to improve in. And I really kind of taking the mindset of what I do inside of my business, and I think can really apply well inside of my home life. And so during this holiday season, I think we can work on our family business, our most important business, in 4 different ways. I think first of all, something that we can consider doing is really work on cultivating the relationships of those in our household. So we invest in our own development. I know for myself, I spend a lot of time, of course I have the continuing ed that I have to do as it relates to licenses, but I also spend a lot of time just kind of in personal development, whether it's listening to podcasts, whether it's reading a book, maybe it's going to a seminar or listening to a seminar, I guess this year online, and just trying to learn, try to improve, trying to lift my lid, trying to become a better person in my business and to be a better employer for my team members. But I really think that we can take that and really work also on trying to cultivate the relationships inside of our home. Within these past few weeks, I think, for example, that I know for my wife and I, we ended up watching a kind of a marriage or a couples academy together. Because we want to be better for each other and also better for our children as well. And so think about those areas that you invest in your people, and think about what are some of those things that I do that I can really invest in my home team as well, in the relationships I have at home as well. Maybe it is sitting down with a spouse and going through a course together. Maybe it's taking a class. I think of with my sons this last basically over the last quarter or so. On Saturday evenings, we were going to a manhood class together. Because I know I don't have all the answers, and I think there are others that do. They don't necessarily have all the answers, but they have a lot more answers than I do to help me as a father, to help to really make an impact as it relates to manhood in the lives of my two sons. And so think about those, kind of be looking out for maybe areas that you can really help yourself, help your spouse, help your children to be able to cultivate those relationships, to be able to lift your lid as a father, as a mother, as a husband, as a wife, maybe as a child to your parents, as a sibling to your brothers and sisters. So think about areas that you can cultivate your relationships in your personal life, just like you would in your business life as well. Secondly, is I think we really can focus on being present, especially over this next week or so. We have the opportunity to be home, to really find out new ways to really be present. So when you're there, you're paying attention, you're watching what's going on, you're engaging in those relationships. When I walk into the office here maybe about an hour or so ago, hour and a half ago, and when I show up in the office, my team members expect me to be present. They expect me to be able to listen to them, to answer questions that they may have. And the same thing should be true at home. So when we appear at home, that with our spouse, that we're present, we're actually there, we're paying attention. With our children, very much the same way. And there are different ways that we can be present as well. Think about things that you maybe have different team building exercises in your business. There are different building exercises you can do at home. And a lot of those can just be done maybe working together in the kitchen, doing something together, go for a walk, do something together to where you can be present. Many, many times when being present and doing something together allows for opening up of relationships. I find that in my business, I think also as well at home, while we're doing something, we're more likely to talk more freely versus sitting across the table from someone and just simply having a dialogue that way. So first of all, work on cultivating our relationships. Secondly, to be present. Thirdly, to listen with purpose. So to actually listen with purpose. So when you're engaging, I think in our business as well in our personal life, we should learn to be able to ask good questions. And then once we ask those questions, that we're good, effective listeners. So when our spouse is talking to us, when our children are talking to us, that we're listening with a purpose. How can I learn this person better? I have to be honest with you. I think for my children and my spouse, they do a much better job at this than I do. Many times I just kind of listen to try to, okay, how am I going to fix this problem instead of listening to try to build that relationship. And what can I learn about this person better? How can I learn this person more? How can I deepen this relationship? And many times that comes through just listening to them. What are they truly telling us? And listening with a purpose. And then lastly, investing in others. So as we kind of go through this holiday time, that we bring those that we live with together as we go and invest in the lives and serve others. And this can be done in a myriad of ways, but I think even today that last night our family worked together in doing some baking and doing some things, and we're going to walk around in our facility today and deliver gifts, and it's something that we're going to do together. And so it's something that we spent time together, we cultivated our relationships together, and then we're going to turn around and invest in others, and we're going to do that as a team. And I really like that idea of doing something together for someone else. And I think maybe more than anything else, and we think about in our businesses, we have some sort of a purpose beyond just our business. And whatever that purpose is, and it could, our employees may bring things to us. We, as a business, we may say, okay, we really want to take some of our profits and invest in this. And I think very much should be the case at home as well. We're going to take our time and our efforts and our energy, just not for ourselves, but in order to take that time together to go and invest in the lives of someone else and serve with the purpose someone else. Hope this brought you some value. Thank you for taking a few minutes to listen today. If you haven't already, would love for you to subscribe to the Belk on Business podcast. Have a wonderful holiday season. We'll talk to you next week.